So I've just gone and bought myself this Range Rover Sport autobiography, and it was really cheap, and we can see why it was really cheap, but more interestingly, it's unrecorded, and that's because the insurance company voided this policy. And I'm going to tell you more about it a little bit later in the video. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how much I paid for the car. The car actually cost me, we're going to strip down the damage to see how bad it is. This bunker's going to follow me. We're going to see how much it's going to cost to repair. So far on parts, and I feel most importantly, and the first thing we should do, is actually try and get it to start, because it doesn't even run. But before we try and start it, I'm going to show you exactly what I have bought. This is a 2017 on a 17 plate Range Rover Sport autobiography, which I think is a pretty good spec. Now it's a 3-litre diesel with 306 PS. I actually bought this directly from a subscriber who unfortunately crashed the car, but we are going to find out a little bit later on why the insurance didn't pay out. And it's also done around 50,000 miles. So the first order of play is actually to try and get this thing to start, because, what is it with me and epoxy planes? Go away. So the first thing I actually want to try and do is get the engine to run. Now, although it should run, I wasn't sold it with a non-running engine. It hasn't run since it was crashed, and I can't start it either. Now, I tried to get this thing running a few weeks ago. The battery was completely flat. I fitted a new battery. I bypassed the pyro, which I think is this element here. I assume this is the cable running to the starter. I bypassed it so it has 12 volts going to it, but the car just still wouldn't start. Now I have the car, so it says press the brake when starting. It's on charge at the minute. If I do that, nothing happens at all. I can press the button as many times as I want, it just turns the ignition on, and the steering column locked is a fault I get. So I have the computer plugged in. I am just running through the faults now. But the interior of this is quite nice spec. It's got like an Alcantara headlining, panoramic roof, Meridian sound system. And because I bought this from a subscriber and not from a salvage auction, I have a V5, I have book packs, I have all the service history, and I have 2 keys, which is most of the time you never get any of that from a salvage auction. So, right, I think we're done. So if we go, no, still going. Oh my, how many modules has this thing got? Right, I think I'm just going to clear. I have done this already, spoiler. It didn't work, but I'm just trying to show you exactly what faults we have as to why this doesn't run, or even try to run. Right. I think 11 faults in the ECM is probably going to be something to do with that. Right, so body control module. Yep, that's fine. They're just lights. Don't know what that is. Gateway quiescent. Is that quiescent? 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 I don't know. I'm going to get ridiculed if that's pronounced ridiculously wrong. Quiescent. Relay box, component internal failure. I don't know if that would be a reason it's not starting. ECM, there's just loads of missing messages. And I think that is because there is no communication to, there we go, look, ABS not equipped. There's no communication to the ABS pump. And that is because most of it is missing on the offside front, because that's where it sits. I'll show you in a second. Now, I don't know if that's the reason that the car's not trying to start, because it can't see a signal to say that the brake's been depressed, or, there we go, look, anything like that. Now, there's no airbag. There's no reason, there's nothing about the airbags, so I don't think there's anything to do with that. That's the reason it's not starting. I've just done that. So, yeah, as I said, I can press it, foot on the brake. Look, and it just says put your foot on the brake, and I am. Now, if we have a look at the offside front, in here we can actually see the ABS module. There it is, and the top of it is missing somewhat. You can see it's just been bunched up against the chassis there, so If anyone knows in the comments, if I manage to get this car actually running before the end of this video, let me know. But then also, I was having a look in the engine bay, and there's a couple of wiring connectors like this one here. Load of wires broken off it, so I don't know if that's going to be important. A signal wire to the engine or something, I don't know. So there's a few things it could be at the moment, but one thing's for sure, it ain't starting. And a very quick mention on the R32, guys, it is back on Compete for Cars. That is because the winner, Joe, had to unfortunately take the cash alternative. He did want the car, but the insurance cost was just way too high. So from now on, I'm going to put £2,000 cash with every competition that I do. So there is £2,000 cash now with the new competition. There's also less tickets as well. So click the link in the description. Go grab your tickets, guys. It's a really, really nice example. But it wasn't all bad for Joe in the end, because he took the £10,000 cash and he's actually got a Mark II GTI that he's now going to use that £10,000 to fully rebuild. So I guess it's not too bad in the end. My dad's now in the pickup and I can confirm I am being dragged, although I can't see out my left mirror. In fact, I can't see out of any mirrors, and I can't ring him either. Oh God. Oh, this isn't good. I can't see him. I'm going to put the camera down so I can't see where I'm going. I'll see you in the workshop. Now, I also mentioned in the beginning of this video that this car has been crashed, obviously, but it's completely unrecorded, HPI clear. You can do the best checks in the world. You will not find any history of this car being involved in a crash anywhere. And that is because, as I said, the insurance was voided. They never paid out. And that is because the person driving it wasn't insured to drive the car. Now, it isn't all what it seems, and it's a massive testament about insurance, and I have partnered with Adrian Flux for this video because the driver of this car was unfortunately driving it only third-party insurance, which means he was at fault in the crash. He crashed into another car, but third-party basically means that they'll repair the third party's car but not your own car. To do that, you need fully comprehensive insurance, and that is the reason that this car was never claimed on, because the person driving it has crashed it. The insurance haven't paid out on his car and he's had to sell it at a massive loss. And Adrian Flux are the UK's largest specialist broker as well. And let's be honest, a Range Rover is probably specialist because no one wants to insure him. But no matter the make or model, Adrian Flux will give you a quote. So a massive thanks to Adrian Flux for sponsoring today's video, and make sure your quote you get is fully comp if you need it. So guys, as I said, I've partnered with Adrian Flux for this video. They are a team of specialists with over 50 years experience. So just click the link in the description, takes you over to their website, and grab a quote for insurance, and make sure you get fully comprehensive insurance, especially if you're driving something like a Range Rover. So yeah, it is something to bear in mind massively with insurance. Third party, yeah, it's great if your car's worth nothing, but if it's a Range Rover, then you want fully comp. So a massive thanks to Adrian Flux for sponsoring this video. And yeah, it's just a reminder, make sure you have fully comprehensive insurance. Right, because I'm fairly sure the ABS pump being smashed to smithereens is the reason it won't start, I'm just gonna start, well, just removing stuff off the front, putting it on a pile on the floor, and also to see if there's any other hidden damage that we can see that might be the reason it also won't start. ABS pump should be coming on Monday, which is, it's now Friday, so over the weekend. So the best thing I can do now is just start pulling out all the damage off the front, and yeah, hope for the best. This ABS pump sorts everything out. Now, there's going to be no method whatsoever to removing all the broken parts. It's just going to be a case of keep removing parts until you get to a point where there's no more broken parts. It's as simple as that. But the rest of the bumper needs to come off on the near side, but the car is actually on air suspension and completely lowered, so I've had to jack the front of the car up. I couldn't even get the trolley jack under the side sill, so it had to go on the front, jack it up so I could gain access to the screws underneath, remove the front bumper, then onto the top lock carrier as well, which is quite broken, get all the screws out for that, remove that, and then it's just a case of getting all the trays, all the little plastic trims out the way. We have the rad pack as well, which has been squashed up against the engine. That was quite tight to get out, but once we've got all those out, all the wiring, get all the little clips off, and it kind of exposes the rest of the engine, the rest of the car, and finally some parts that aren't broken. It's ain't good news, you know. All these brake cables are going to be possibly broke. Either way, it's not looking too clever. And there we go, we have a big chunk taken out the front end now, and as I just mentioned, there was no real method to it. It was just keep removing stuff until you find no more broken parts, really, which is kind of what I've done. Luckily, I didn't realise the engine is so far back. Look, it doesn't even start to way back here, so there must be, what, genuinely a metre between the crank pulley and where the bumper sits. So thankfully, that means the engine looks to be impact free, apart from DPF possibly hose air that's broken. But ABS pump, I have just kind of yanked it backwards, managed to disconnect the connector, which is obviously broken, but doesn't look smashed. So I think it's probably just an internal failure of the ABS pump while there's no communication. I am worried about the orientation of these brake lines, because like this, look, if they've all been bunched up and I've got to replace the brake lines, I mean, look where they go. I mean, down there into the car, and that will not be a nice, easy fix at all. So hopefully the ABS pump turns up today. Fingers crossed I can maybe get this thing turning over. But in the meantime, you can see all the mess that I've just created, just piling out all the parts, just removing all the broken bits. And our main concerns at the minute is not that, but this side. Obviously, we can see here where it's just snapped the top of the crash bar off and the flange at the end of the chassis leg. So if we look at this side, look, it's like a little bit of a box section here where the two bolts for the top of the crash bar bolt to. So we're going to have to get a very good fabricator, I think I know one, who can basically fabricate a box section here and make it up so we can attach our new crash bar on. And I'm also, the only other bit concerned is these top bits here. Now, if you look, it's angled out a little bit, but I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, because this side is also angled out, just angled out that tiny little bit more. So I have a feeling this is probably needs coming in a tad, and maybe that's correct. I don't know. I need to have a look at other Range Rovers to have a look, but otherwise I think we're okay damage wise. That's the rad pack, which we've got a new one. Again, the subframe doesn't look compromised, but until I have a proper check over it, it's going to be hard to tell. And with respect to the interior, we obviously need a new steering wheel airbag, a new dash, windscreen, and I mean, the seatbelts seem fine, but probably need seatbelts too. And I don't know if we need a new airbag control module. I have no clue about Range Rovers. I haven't done the airbag side of them before. But what I have done is taken delivery of a load of front end parts for the Range Rover, including a dash kit as well. And I got them all from ASM Autos. They are absolutely incredible when it comes to parts. They've just got so many Range Rover, Land Rover, Defender parts, Range Rover Sports parts in stock. So you can just basically just take your pick, email them what you need, and they can just sort you out. So massive thank you to ASM. I'm going to leave the links to them in the description, because if you do need any parts, cars, anything, scrap, salvage related, they'll probably have it. So just give them a call. As I said, links in the description. They also picked up my Q4 donor car as well. They have bought that off me because I no longer need it. So they also buy cars as well. So spot on, really. Right, so we'll just walk down and have a look at the parts. I do have a front bumper here, look, in white. Been poorly painted before, obviously needs to be painted in the right colour. But we have a front bumper. And then in the van also, we should have a load more front end parts, including, standing up there, our dashboard. And here we have the rest of the parts. So we have a silver bonnet, we have a rad pack here, we have a dash, well, we have an airbag kit. We've got an airbag control module. Hopefully it's interchangeable and it will work fine. And we should have a load of front end parts here as well. We've got a wing. I'm just hoping that I've got everything I need. We've got a nice crash bar there as well. Bonnet hinges, load of stuff in here, and also looking at that might give us an indication as to whether our top wing bits are bent or not. Yeah, it's just a bit of a mess at the minute, but hopefully most of the bits are here. Now, the good thing about the Impact is because it was above the crash bar, literally the crash bar is completely undamaged, unscathed. It means we don't have any bent chassis legs, and I think even our suspension components are going to be absolutely fine as well. The only downside is obviously the top carrier took the brunt of everything, so it's these I think are going to be the issue. So I'm going to go get that top piece now and just put it into position and see if these are both actually supposed to be straight or it's supposed to be slightly angled like that. Well, this is more difficult than it should be. I've got one bolt in, but still it's pushed over this way. I need to go that way, like 3 millimeters for the bolt hole to be central to this. But if we just offer this up at the top end. Right, so I've just plonked on the top carrier. I've fitted the one bolt in here, which is the top of the crash bar. The other one is actually in line now, so it's okay. And I have managed to put it on the locator lug here. Haven't put a bolt in, but if you look there, look, we're not a million miles out. We're pretty much spot on with there. We can see where the old bolt is. So that's actually pretty spot on, that one. Just this one, look, is just over probably about 3 millimeters. So we just need to tweak that in a little bit. And I think this side will be fine. However, this side isn't looking as clever. We're quite far out. I can't push it down because it's so bent. But if we look there, there's the bolt. So we're probably about 5 mil out here and about a football pitch out on this side. I think the bolt hole's about here. So it's about 1 inch out on this side. So yeah, that needs to come in as well. I've also got a couple of headlights, so I'm just going to test that they work. Especially this side, because this side is smashed. Headlight wiring looks okay though. DRLs, indicators, headlights. DRLs, headlights, indicators. Beautiful. And now I just need to remove the crash bar, which is going to reveal the state of our chassis leg, just to make sure it's not going to be too big a job to get a new piece welded on. Okay. Now with the crash bar removed, I've just taken a load of pictures of this leg and the other leg. I've just sent them over to Bob at the machine shop to see what he can do to work his magic to get that looking brand new again. And I've just had the ABS pump turn up as well from ASM Auto. So really speedy delivery there. I am just going to plug it in and just see if that recognizes the module. And the only downside is if it needs to recognize brake pressure, then it ain't gonna. So this is a 50-50. Well, I just thought I'd plug in the computer first. We are now connected to the ECM and the ABS pump. It does now recognize it. Obviously, it's got a few faults, control module not configured, absolutely fine. There's no fault codes now in the ECM for ABS pumps. That is good. So fingers crossed now. It will start, as I said, it's a 50-50. I don't know if I need brake pressure or not. I just don't know. So, right, we're in park, foot on the brake. Oh, I heard the starter. I heard it. I heard it. Oh, yes, yes. Yes, it worked. It was the ABS pump. It starts, it runs, it sounds good. Woo! Massive relief because I was worried. I'm going to turn it off because I don't know what else is cracking. I was worried I was going to have a dodgy engine. I could still have a dodgy gearbox, but the engine sounded okay then. And I've just had a load of leakages. What's leaking? Oh, no, I have oil leaking. That's not good. That is not good. Is that power steering fluid? Have I taken off an oil cooler? I don't know. What's leaking? Well, it's definitely oil. Could be power steering fluid. I don't know at this point. I don't think it's anything serious though, because it's coming from sort of here. Obviously the engine's there, so fingers crossed it's just an oil cooler or something that's missing and therefore coming out. But obviously really good news. ABS pump was the reason it didn't start. It has now started and it does now run. It sounded good. So massive relief there, and really happy. So I'm actually going to end the video there, guys. But just before we end the video, I will go through the costs so far, including what I paid for the car. So the car actually cost me £10,000 is what I paid for it. Now I'm going to put a couple of snapshots up now, but I've had a look online and the cheapest ones, like for like, are around the £20,000 to £22,000 mark for the same car, same age, same mileage, same spec. So far on parts, I've spent £4,000, which included all my front end parts, dashboard kit, headlights, etc. Paint, now everything else here is now subjective. So paint, I'm gonna say, is probably, we're gonna have to paint the whole front end, probably blend in the doors as well. So 1,500, maybe a little bit more, put a bit of a guess. Miscellaneous, might need a new ABS pump, a control module, load of trims we may need. So I'm probably going to put another 750 for that for the moment. And then value, obviously I just said between 20 and 22k. So if we add up that quickly, what's that, 15 and a half, 16,250 we're at as a projected cost at the moment. So we've kind of got around about £5,000 leeway here. So let me know in the comments, what do you think to the projected cost so far? Do you reckon it'll cost more than 16,250 to fix? Am I gonna get less than 21 grand for the car? Is it gonna be worth it? Let me know. Second video shouldn't be too long, to be fair, because I've got most of the parts. I've just obviously how quickly Bob can come out. I know he's a very busy man, so I'm not sure at this point. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of breath now. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.